just like building a house, the nervous system develops in phases, and kids develop that way too. So if your kiddo's struggling with speech, sensory, or social challenges, I wanted to go over this video to talk through what are some of the developmental phases that they might have missed, they might be a little bit behind on, that we can help them with. Or if you have a baby, here's why we want to hit these awesome milestones, because a lot happens between 0 and 18 months in life to get a kiddo upright and walking that's going to impact so much more when they get further down the road, especially as they start school. And that's where a lot more sensory info comes in. That's where a lot more, they're expected to socialize. Speech has to be more developed, all those different things. Now, I am a dad of 4 boys, and the thing that I know is that transition into kindergarten is tough. My 6-year-old Zach is going through that right now, and that's really when they get stretched a little bit. So I want to go back to take you forward and talk about these 3 different phases between 0 and 18 months that are really so important to your kiddo's development. The first one is 0 to 4 months. 0 to 4 months is so important because they are not doing anything motor-wise. They're eating, they're sleeping, they're pooping, and they're being pretty cute, right? They're doing those things. And that's all we really want them to do during that phase. We want them to be at ease, that automatic system, that processing system. Their brain's working hard, their body's learning to do all those new things. It's eating, sleeping, pooping, and it's doing those on autopilot. If your child is struggling here, we want to get involved and really help them with those things, because what that autonomic ease ties to at that point is a lot that goes with that sensory system. It goes really with all 3 because of building blocks. But if they're not comfortable with going to the bathroom well, if they're not comfortable with eating and there's a lot of reflux, if they're not comfortable, nursing or latching, that's going to set their body up developmentally to struggle with the sensory system when it gets older. And things like that can be noise, taste, texture, touch. All those different things can be overwhelming because we didn't have a good start between that 0 and 4 months. Secondly, when kids get past 4 months, that's when we start wanting to see the motor building blocks, right? That's where we want them to have their head up a little bit more. That's where we want them to be learning how to sit, learning how to kind of get up into that sitting position, learning how to get their butt up under them and start to crawl. That's so important because that really rolls into the building blocks that eventually get us to walking. But that's really important because if they're not comfortable here between that 4 months and 10 months, all those little gross milestones that they're hitting to get to walking help ease their brain and really help ease not only their sensory system, but also the systems that are going to work on comfortability with social and work on comfortability with speech and language development, all those things. Because if they get to step 3 and that motor gravity integration between 10 and 18 months, if they don't have this, then they're uncomfortable at developing to walk. And that really gets to number 3, because we think of this 10 to 18 months as like, all right, the kiddo's crawling, they're starting to get up the stairs, they're starting to do a little bit more things. But when they really start to put their feet under them and they start to walk, they're not only moving one place to another and getting used to it and doing those little butt bumps, but there's a lot of integration going on in their brain. And that's super important because you probably heard it either from your pediatrician or read it in a book where they have to really walk comfortably before they can talk comfortably. Now, gravity and that movement help activate those higher levels of the brain to get them very comfortable with speech. And to get to number 3, you really have to conquer 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to get you more to that comfort and ease when they hit that preschool, when they hit pre-K, when they hit kindergarten, and they're really stretched a little more with these 3 S's, the sensory, speech, and social environment. Now, if you're a mom or dad and you kind of feel in your gut, okay, maybe we're behind in one of these 3 phases, or maybe it's just we already know we're struggling and we're looking for something else to help, we'd love it if you reach out to us. We want to talk to you about it. Every single kiddo is a little bit different, and we know having this conversation and going back for a 5, 6, 7-year-old back to that first 18-month time frame is so incredibly important. After we have that conversation, what we want to do is we want to get them checked. We want to get them scanned. That's the technology we use in our office to be able to help see where their system might be stressed. That goes with that autonomic phase, those motor phases, all of that development between 0 and 18 months that then's gonna help them to conquer the speech, sensory, or social struggles they're struggling with right now. Now, we've helped thousands of kids with this throughout our community, and we absolutely love it. But we also know every kid's different. So we want to have that conversation first, let you know how we can help, and then help you and your kiddo thrive and get past those tough years between ages 5 and 7.